how did you get the name Krishna Das, sir?
Ramdas had a Volkswagen bus that he had bought from somebody here in India. One day Maharaj-ji says to Ramdas, Ramdas, you're a saint, you shouldn't drive. Give him the keys. So I got the keys and I got my first name, driver.
When you first met Maharaj-ji, how was that meeting?
The minute I walked into the room, something happened to me and I knew that whatever it was I was looking for, I was 20 years old, it was real, it was in the world and you could find it. Remember, Maharaj-ji said, I love suffering. Suffering brings me closer to God. If we're happy, if we're enjoying, we don't think of God.
How was your life before meeting Ramdas and even Maharaj-ji?
Truthfully, I was very depressed, very lost, very unhappy, very lonely. Nothing was working in my life at all at that point. When he left the body, I was destroyed and I didn't start singing with people for 20 years. Hello, namaste.
Namaste, sir. Ram Ram.
Ram Ram, kaise hain?
मैं ठीक हूँ, sir. It is. Let me take a moment to just calm myself down. Just a minute. Okay. Ram Ram, sir. Before we begin, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Sir, I'm really sorry that it could not happen last time. We just could not send you the link. And trust me, today, I know why it got rescheduled for this day. So there's a small story, I'll share it with you on the podcast. But before that, sir, I have my entire team sitting right in front of me, and they are a huge devotees of your music, of Maharaj-ji, and they would like to say hello. So if you allow, I can just call them all back, right?
Koi baat nahi. Fine, no problem.
Yes, please. No, sir.
Namaste. Oh.
Namaste, sir. Namaste.
How are you doing?
Jai Shri Ram, sir.
Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Ram.
Sitaram, sir.
Very good.
So yeah, that's my team, sir.
It's a blessing, sir.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
To do with it. Sir,
And yeah,
your music, like we connect with it so much. Like on daily basis, we listen to your songs, you listen to your music, and how deeply rooted it is, like from our true selves. It's like I can't even define that in a normal going words. Like it's so well defined with God. So I just want to thank you for creating this kind of music, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
yes.
So it looks like we're in a Tibetan temple.
No, sir. So we are currently in Bhutan.
Oh, Bhutan. Oh,
Yeah.
I always wanted to, I've never been to Bhutan. Always want to come.
Okay. You can come now, sir. We'll be happy to.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. So
Very good, yeah.
before starting, sir, let me introduce myself. My name is Mohit Sharma, and we have a travel company, right? It's called Ilahi Travels, and its motto is to serve as Hanuman served.
Aha, wonderful.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
as we got connected to Maharaj-ji, our mentor Vishal Gupta helped us to get connected to Maharaj-ji. And after that, we started a travel company, and we thought that we should take Maharaj-ji's teachings and spread it. And because we truly believe in that, especially in the tourism.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So the two people you met, the guy, he is one of our travelers, and we are currently on a trip. So
Acha.
yeah, so that's
Oh,
why.
so you're in Bhutan now, is that right?
Yeah, sir. We are in Bhutan, and yeah, that's about me, sir. This podcast is about you, your journey, and Maharaj-ji.
Very good.
Okay.
Good.
And
Which place do you live in when you're not traveling?
sir, we are from Delhi.
Delhi, okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be singing in Delhi on the 31st of October.
No, sir, I'm coming to Rishikesh.
Oh, Rishikesh, very good. So I'll meet you then. Good.
Thank you, sir. Okay. So, sir, I don't want to make this podcast so too formal. My ideology of this podcast is to communicate as a devotee to another devotee of Maharaj-ji, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the case. I wanted to start by saying, sir, it is always said, whosoever has met Maharaj-ji, even when I first met Maharaj-ji, I felt like coming home, right? So I wanted to ask you, when you first met Maharaj-ji, how was that meeting? What is the story about it? What did you felt? Was it was the feeling of coming home? Was that the feeling? Coming home?
Well, I actually met Maharaji before I met him physically. I met him when I met Ramdas, who came back from India after meeting Maharaji in 1968. He returned from India, and when I met Ramdas, that was life-changing for me because I walked into the room where he was sitting, and he was sitting on the floor on the other side of the room with his back against the wall with his eyes closed. And the minute I walked into the room, something happened to me, and I knew that whatever it was I was looking for, I mean, I was 20 years old, whatever I was looking for was real, it was in the world, and you could find it. And that was the beginning of the rest of my life. And of course, the feeling of coming home is everybody feels that. And, you know, there's a story, there's a couple, Frank and Jan from America, who were two of the first Westerners to meet Maharaji. And many years later, Maharaji said to, I think, KK Shah, said, I could have called anyone, but I called Frank first. So you see, we think we're doing it, but we're being called, we're being brought home by the one who's always home and who is home. And yes, that was the feeling coming. You felt that you were finally where you always wanted to be.
Yeah. And how was your encounter with Ramdas ji? When was it?
Oh, wonderful. Ramdas was, at that point in America, at that time, there wasn't a lot of Dharma. There was a few yoga teachers, maybe some Buddhist meditation, Zen center and stuff like that. But Ramdas was a breath of fresh air. He really brought Maharaji to America. It was wonderful. When Ramdas left India to return to America, Maharaji said, "Don't talk about me."
Okay.
But he couldn't help himself. He had to talk about him because he was overflowing with him. But he never said his name, and he never said where you could find him. So he felt it was the letter of the law. But still, he was radiating Maharaji so much. It was wonderful.
Can you
And
recall the exact moment when you met Ramdas?
yeah, sure, I remember exactly. I mean, I think it was in the winter of 68, 69, probably January or February 1969, and I was living in upstate New York on a farm. My friends owned this place, and they had heard about Ramdas. They knew of him when he was known as Richard Alpert in the old days, and they heard he had come back and was living up in New Hampshire at his father's place. So they asked me if I wanted to go, and I said, "Nah, I don't care of any white yogis. Give me a break here. So they went, and they were supposed to come back the next day, but they didn't come back for like 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
And then I saw the car coming. It was a farm. There was a road crossed right through the middle of the field. So I waited. The guy gets out of the car and he turns around, and there was light shooting out of him. It was amazing. So I just said, "Write down the directions. I'm leaving now," And I ran and got in my car, and I drove all night. And I got there, and yeah, That was a big day.
And sir, everybody knows the later part of your journey, but I wanted to know uh, how was your life before meeting Ramdas and even Maharaj-ji? What kind of a person you were?
Well, truthfully, I was very depressed, very lost, very unhappy, very lonely. Nothing was working in my life at all at that point. And you know, when I went to India, when I met Maharaj-ji in 1970, still I was only 23. I never had a job. I hadn't done anything. I didn't have a life. A lot of us who came at that point, there were some adults, but mostly we were these kids, you know, and we had never lived. We hadn't done anything. We had no form, no shape, you know. We didn't know we didn't care about anything. We just wanted to be as close to the feet as possible. And he used to look at us and he'd say, I have the keys to the mind. Yeah, I could turn your minds against me. And we said, Baba, don't do that. And he said, transfer ho jayega. And he transferred us all. He transferred us. We were there. He brought us there. He did what he had to do, and he sent us back to our lives. Just, you know, I'll tell you a beautiful story. It was told to me by Mr. Tiwari, who was one of Maharajji's great disciples, devotees. They were in Vrindavan in the middle of the summer. And this is when Vrindavan was a small little village, just back in the 60s. And they were walking down the street, and coming in the opposite direction was this sadhu with jata and, you know, the whole thing. And when Maharaj-ji and he saw each other, they ran to each other. They embraced, they dancing around. And they were saying, oh, it's so good to see you after so long. And they, you know, that went on for some time. And then Maharaj-ji says to the Baba, he said, okay, I have to go now. It's great to see you. Take good care. And the Baba says to Maharaj-ji, no way, I'm not leaving you. And Maharaj-ji said, Nene, you don't understand. I'm surrounded by worldly people. It's not good for you. You shouldn't stay with me. Don't stay with me. And he said, Baba, I won't leave you. He said, no, you can't stay with me. It's not good. I'm not leaving. Okay. So then the three of them start to walk towards Mathura in the middle of the day. And it's only desert in those days between Vrindavan and Mathura. And they were dying of thirst. In the distance, they saw a well. And they go running towards the well. Maharaj-ji gets there first, puts his hands out, and there was a woman drawing water. And he said, Ma, pani dalo. So she pours the water, and Maharaj-ji says to the lady, pani dalo. So she pours water for him. He finishes drinking, and the Baba puts his kamandalu out, right? And she starts pouring water in it. While this is happening, Maharaj-ji starts chatting the woman up. Ma, what's your village? What's your name? What's your caste? It turned out she was an untouchable. When the Baba heard that, he threw his pot down and crushed it on the ground, and he starts yelling at Maharaj-ji, what have you done? This is my only possession. I need this for everything, and you've made it juta because of you. It's become impure. What's that? You know. And Maharaj-ji's going, what? Oh no, I thought you were a sadhu. I thought you were a saint. What is attachment for a sadhu? And the Baba realized what happened. And Maharaj-ji said, he washed my feet with his tears, and he went back to the mountains to finish his work. Nothing could be around Maharaj-ji. It was like a moth to a flame. Something had to be left behind. You couldn't hold on to things there. And if you did, you went away, because the love was so strong, the reality was so strong that it ripped everything away from you. Yeah. But but he warned the Baba. That's the thing. Because his heart was so soft, he didn't want to see the Baba suffer, even though he knew that it had to happen. Don't come with me. No, no, no. It's not good for you. Right? He warned the Baba.
Do you still feel his presence, sir?
What's that? You broke up a little.
Do you feel his presence? Do you still
What do
feel?
you think? Do you feel it now? I feel it
I
now.
think I think he never left.
Hmm?
I think he never left you or me or
Yeah,
anyone.
but, well, he may not have left me, but I leave him every day.
Okay.
Every day.
Can you expand that thought, please, for us?
Every day. But he said, once I take your hand, I never let go. Even when, not if, even when you let go of mine. So my job is to let go, his job is to hold on.
Why do you say that you leave him every day?
I'm sorry? What?
Why do you mention that you leave him every day?
Because I'm honest, that's why. I'm not going to lie to you. You think I live in his presence all the time, consciously? No. I forget him all day long. I watch movies, I drive around, I go shopping, I talk to people. Do I remember him all the time? No. But that doesn't mean he's not here. His presence doesn't depend on me. If it depended on me, there would be no Baba. Let's be honest about ourselves. We have to deal with our stuff. Our job is to keep coming back to that presence, to remembering, to chanting the name that which purifies the heart. But let's not kid ourselves, who we are. We're his, but we're not. But we're also nothing. Nothing special. But we're his. That's enough. When we remember.
True. There is this thing, sir, that so okay, there are a lot of things. Let me go to them one. Okay. So sometimes I was discussing this with my mentor. His name is Mr. Vishal Gupta. And I tell him there are times when I don't feel anything, right? To be, I don't remember Maharaj-ji that much. And then suddenly I have this urge ki, "Arey, whenever I'm in a problem, I'll always think of Maharaj-ji, right? And very less when I'm very happy or when I'm feeling gratitude. Or generally, if something is happening, something good is happening into my life, I'll really, remember Maharaj-ji. But every time when something bad is happening, I'll run towards that used to make me feel bad, right? So I can resonate with what you are saying. Can
Yeah.
resonate.
But remember, Maharaj-ji said, I love suffering. Suffering brings me closer to God. Because we're human beings. If we're happy, if we're enjoying, we don't think of God.
Right.
It doesn't mean he's not here, she's not here, but we're too busy. We're magan, lust.
Right.
And it's when we have pain or suffering or unhappiness that we call out. That's natural. That's the way it is. But part of it is that we're so we're so our our awareness is so dull that we don't see that even when we're happy, we're suffering. For instance, Buddha, he gave I think one of the first sermons he gave was called the fire sermon. And he said, "Oh monks, everything is on fire. The skin is on fire with touch. The tongue is on fire with taste. The eyes are on fire with sight. The ears are on fire with hearing. Whatever, and the mind is on fire. We don't experience it as fire because we're dull. But it's burning. Everything is burning. And we're burning. Our bodies are burning. Every minute we get closer to death. Every minute there's billions of cells in the body dying. But we don't think of it. We don't experience it. We think, oh, I have time. Let's go watch a movie. There's so many things on Netflix. Anything we can do. So that's because we're not sensitive enough. We're not. But he knows that, you see. That's the Maharaj-ji knows who we are. He knows what we need. He's going to provide what we need. And it's only for us to surrender to that, to his being, and to not to be thinking about ourselves all the time. That's what we do all day long. We only think about ourselves. Me, 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 me. My spiritual life, my practice, my sadhana. That's just more neurosis. We have to let go and just be at ease and at peace with things. But it's not easy. Real faith is presence, is being. It's what already is, but we don't know it. We're not aware of it. Like Ramana Maharshi said, if God was something that came and went, what good is it? The real thing is always here. The true self, Shiva, Ram. They're always here. But we're not paying attention. So sadhana practice is training ourselves to remember to pay attention. It's not easy. We forget. So like when you're chanting, right? You're in a room with like 1,000 people. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram. And then you see, oh, wait a minute, I've been daydreaming. Right? While you're singing, while you're surrounded by 1,000 people singing, you're daydreaming. You see that. How did that happen? You were daydreaming. You were gone. How did you wake up in that moment and see that you were gone? Because once you see you're gone, you're not gone. You're here for a second, a millisecond, and then you're gone again. So that's why when we chant, we just have to keep coming back to the sound of the name. And to remember. It's because we ourselves have planted the seeds of this by grace. And that's what keeps bringing us back. And every time we come back, we've planted another seed. And there's a lot of weeds growing because every other thought that we have is a weed. So compared to how many weeds we plant, how many seeds of bhakti, of love do we plant, right? So that's our job, is just to remember, and do the best we can.
Is that why you chant through music, sir? To remember.
That's why what? I chant?
Your music.
Yeah.
Do you do it because you want to just go back to the thought, to that presence, to that awareness? Is that why you do music and chant?
Well, I don't know. I'm up to here in the water, right? I can still breathe through my nose. If I don't sing, if I sing, I stay right here. That's all. And that's by Maharaj-ji's blessing, I have that practice. He's given me that practice to do. But he never told me to do this. In other words, he never ordered me to sing with people. He said, you know, go forth and do this. Never. I had to find this myself. When his last instruction to me was, do what you want. I've been walking around India in a red dress, barefoot for 2 years, and now he's sending me back to New York. What am I going to do? So I asked him, he said, do what you want. Do what I want? Who tells you that? What guru tells you that? A guru tells you that who knows what you're going to do and doesn't have to, you don't have to know. A real guru. So, but when he left the body, I was destroyed, and I didn't start singing with people for 20 years. No, let's see. More, yeah, 21 years. He left the body in 1973, and I really didn't sing. I didn't start singing with people until 1994. That was my karmas. Very dark, very unhappy, very depressed, very dark, unhappy stuff for a long time. And then I was in my apartment in New York, and I walked from one room to the other, and I got struck with like a thunderbolt. And I knew at that moment, if I did not chant with people, I would never be able to clean out the dark corners in my own heart. And it was apparent and obvious that all my suffering was coming from those dark shadows, those dark corners. So it took me a little while to get with the program, but I got there.
And how did you get the name Krishna Das, sir? What's the story behind it?
Well, Ramdas had a Volkswagen bus that he had bought from somebody here in India. And we were driving it around. We drive it to Nainital and back to the temple all the time. One day Maharaj-ji says to Ramdas, Ramdas, you're a saint. You shouldn't drive. Give him the keys. So I got the keys, and I got my first name, Driver.
Oh, okay.
Driver, yeah, driver, like this, right? So I thought, okay, so like a long time went by. Everybody else had Indian names, and I'm Driver. So I wrote in my diary one night, well, I guess it'll always be Driver. Next day, I get to the temple. I get called into Maharaj's room. He looks at me and says, Arjun, nay, Krishna, nay, Krishna Das. I said, Krishna Das? What is that? I'm a Hanuman guy. What is this Krishna stuff? He just laughed. He said, Hanumanji served Krishna too. So that was that.
And so there has been many incidents where my mentor, and my entire people who are devotees of Maharaj-ji, have encounters where we believe that we have met Maharaj-ji in different forms, right? Was there any time when you had such incident after he left his body, that you met him in another form?
No. That's not, I don't look for that. He's a presence for me. I live inside of him. Everywhere I go, he's there. I don't look for him to be outside anymore. I used to. I looked for him I ran running through the jungles in the middle of the summer looking for him. I almost killed myself that way. And then I finally realized, wait a minute, did I find him in the first place? No. He dragged me over there. He did it. What am I thinking I'm going to do? So when he wants to see me, he knows where I am. But in the meantime, it's not about that. Personally, I think he's in a body somewhere. He could be living next door to me, and I wouldn't know unless he wanted me to. He's running the show here. We just have to let him do it and stop fighting it. Stop filling it up with our own desires. He's running the show. Whatever, and we're getting what we need. And what we have to do simply is let go and surrender to that. And then we have no problem. Not easy though.
Yes. So my guru, my mentor, Vishal Gupta sir had this. I was having a conversation. I told him that I've had the honor to meet you in this meet today, and he asked me just one question to ask you, which I'm going to ask, is that do you think acceptance and surrendering are the same thing?
Both of those words can have a lot of different meanings.
Okay.
I'm not sure what he means by acceptance. On one hand, on a karmic level, one needs to accept and recognize where one is and what's in one's life and deal with it. One doesn't have to accept negative circumstances without trying to transform them. But the real negativity, of course, is in our own hearts, our own minds. Surrender is the whole thing, but that happens by grace. One doesn't, like Ramana Maharaj-ji said, asking the ego to kill the ego is like asking the thief to be the policeman. There'll be a lot of investigation, but no arrest will ever be made. So the ego's not going to kill itself. It wants to be separate. It wants to remain separate. It wants to keep enjoying and doing everything itself and imagining that it's actually real. But true surrender happens by grace, and our job is to purify our hearts and wait for that grace. That's what Maharaj-ji said, actually. He said, purify and wait for grace. And what do we mean by purify, right? I think very simply it means not to be pushed around by by the programs that are running in our own heads. All the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. We believe totally, all the time. We don't doubt. Everything we think, we believe, which is pretty crazy, really. So to purify means to and not be pushed around and programmed by our own likes and dislikes, and try to find that place in us that is peaceful and present. But it's not something you can't force that.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah. But you can accept things, but you don't have to be affected by those things necessarily. You can accept that that something is happening, but it's up to us, well, mostly up to us on how we meet each moment, how we react and act in the face of many different types of experiences, right? So when Ram Dass had the stroke, he had a catastrophic stroke. At first, he really thought Maharaj-ji gave him the stroke. Because in his mind, if it happened, then Maharaj-ji, at the very least, let it happen, so to speak. But when he came to India and met Siddhima for the only time he came to India after the stroke, she immediately said to him, Ramdas, Maharaj-ji didn't give you the stroke. He'd never do something like that. The stroke is your karma. What he gives you is the blessings, the strength, and the grace to overcome the negative effects of that karma. And really, Ramdas, he really did overcome. He used to say to me, the stroke saved my life, he used to say. Really,
Wow.
which is, that's big time. He couldn't do anything for himself. He had to be fed, he had to be clothed, he had to turned in bed, helped out, and yet there he was. The stroke saved my life. Amazing. That fire really purified his heart fully, and by the end, he was shining. He was just shining by the end. There was so much love. Really beautiful.
Yeah. So you mentioned about Siddhima. I know a very little about Siddhima, and I would like you to tell me and the audience about Siddhima a bit. Who was it?
Well, it's the funny thing is that it's hard to talk about her because from 1973 until she left the body in 2018, she didn't want to be talked about. Because if I had started talking about her, there would have been thousands of people at Kainchi. And that's the last thing she wanted, nor needed. She didn't need, just like Maharaj-ji, she didn't need to see you to be with you. But she was just extraordinary. She was absolute, total surrender, total devotion, total merging with Maharaj-ji. She knew what was in your mind. She had all these siddhis. She could do anything. But I think she even hid herself more than Maharaj-ji.
Okay.
She knew how to hide. She didn't want to be known she didn't want that. She only saw herself. One time, another Western friend of mine was organizing a conference of women spiritual leaders, female spiritual leaders in the whole world. It was going to be a big conference in Switzerland. And she invited Siddhima to come. And she said, I'm not a spiritual leader. I'm just a devotee of Maharaj-ji. That's full surrender. Because she was this much above anybody of those other spiritual leaders. She was extraordinary being. So much love. She took such good care of us Westerners. I mean, knowing how crazy we are, she still never judged us. Just loved us and made us at home in Kainchi. And she was really, there's a book written about her by Jaya Prasad. It's a wonderful book. It doesn't tell the whole story, but it tells enough of it. And very beautiful. Yeah. Ma was unbelievable. Really. Yeah.
Sir, can you can you recall or share an incident or a story about Siddhima that can give our audience or me as well a deeper or more insight about her devotion towards Maharaj-ji?
As far as she was concerned, Maharaj-ji was doing everything. She said Maharaj-ji and she are like two sides of one coin. On the last day in Kainchi, Mr. Tiwari, my Indian father, was with Maharaj-ji, and they were in the back room together. And they came out, and they walked through the room where Siddhima was standing, waiting. And Maharaj-ji, they stopped at the door and turned towards Siddhima, and he started weeping. And he said, I can never repay the debt I owe to you. No one has ever served me the way you've served me, and no one ever will. And he's weeping. Everybody's weeping. Then he turns around and he becomes like a little kid. Immediately he said, now I'm getting out of central jail, he says. Then he turned back to Ma and started weeping again immediately and saying the same things. I can never repay the debt I owe to you. Then he turned around. Now I'm getting out of central jail. Walks across the courtyard. Talks to Hanuman-ji for a few minutes. Walks out of the temple. His blanket drops from him. Gets in the car. Drives down to the train. Next day he leaves the body. 2 days later. But the seva that Ma did, and all those years, you know, nobody can do that. It's complete, total surrender and devotion. There was no ego, nothing left like that at all. Yeah.
Do you still visit to Kainchi, sir?
Haven't been there for quite a while, for a few years now, since Ma left.
But why?
Actually, I just haven't. I've been up in the mountains, at that part of the mountains, for a long time. Yeah, these days Maharaj-ji has me on a very short leash. You know, I sing and I go home. I sing and I go home. I sing and I go home. That's about it.
Okay. So you don't get time usually to visit Kainchi. Is it what you...
Yeah, I might someday. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. You know, we'll see what he wants to do with me.
Okay. Cool. So when you say Maharaj used to hide, what's about that?
You know, one time he said, if they knew who I was, they'd pull the hairs off of my body to make amulets. He said, I go on fooling the whole world and people come here and think they can fool me? He had Dada, his great devotee, Dada Mukherjee, used to say, Maharaj has two blankets. The outer blanket hides his body from us because he was always taking on karmas of other people who were getting sores on the body. There's all kinds of things. But so that blanket hid the body. But Dada said he also had an inner blanket that hid his radiance from it. We couldn't withstand it. Apana teja tumaro ape tinon lo kahan ke ten kampe. Right? It says in Hanuman Chalisa. Only you can withstand your own radiance. So he had to protect us from that. One night we were at Maharaj-ji was at Dada's house in Allahabad, and the Westerners were around, and we were inside, and then I came out on the porch, and it was nighttime. I came out on the porch, and I saw Maharaj-ji was sitting on the porch alone in a chair, looking out into space, looking up into the sky. And he was just gone, right? He just, so I sat down in front of him and I took his foot and he went, his head whipped around and he looked at me. And I tell you, I thought I was going to burn alive. For a split second, I saw, I don't even know what I saw, but it was more than I could ever. And immediately he softened himself and, ha ha ha, take it, jao, jao, so jao. But for that split second, I saw the whole universe. Then I went back to the Sony's house, Mr. and Mrs. Sony, where the Westerners were staying. And I fell asleep, and I had the dream of my life. I had the most extraordinary experience that night, just from 1 millisecond of Maharaj-ji's real presence. It was like a 3-part dream. It told me my whole life. It was just amazing. And just from this much. So that was the inner blanket. He had the inner blanket. He was fully in control of anything and everything. He was like the great puppet master, pulling all the strings. And he even created a Maharaj-ji puppet for us to look at and love. Because we're puppets and we have puppet eyes and we can only see other puppets. So he made a puppet for us to get our attention and pull us towards him. But that's not the real Maharaj-ji.
So Maharaj used to always say, "Ram Ram कहने से सब ठीक हो जाता है."
Ram Naam karne se sab pura ho jata. Yeah, he always said that. And, he said, just take the name. That's what he said. Everything is accomplished by repeating the names.
What do you think? What is Ram for you, sir?
Why don't you ask an easy question? Ram, don't be silly. There's no way I can. For me, it's all about Maharaj-ji. He is Hanuman for me, and Hanuman is Ram, and that's the whole story. This is not. He used to say, "Who's Hanuman-ji?" And we give him all the regular answers, And he goes, "Nahi, Ram ke swas hai." The breath of Ram, the life of Ram.
Okay. When I first visited Kainchi, sir, it was in I think 2021, and it's not that much famous at that time. It was very silent, and I still remember around 8 p.m. and I was stepping onto the bridge from the road to the temple, and my mentor told me and my other friends that this bridge is not an ordinary bridge. This bridge connects you from this world to that. So,
Yeah, very nice. The temple now, they had to rebuild that bridge, by the way, and rebuild the arch over the bridge, the entrance. And Siddhima, they named it Sri Neem Karoli Baba Ashram and Temple. That's not what Maharaj-ji named it.
oh,
The original arch over the bridge, Sri Advait Sankatamochan Hanuman Mandir.
okay.
Sri Advait Sankatamochan Hanuman Mandir. That's the difference between Maharaj and everybody else. Advait Sankatamochan. Yeah. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. You don't need more than that. That's it. That's the answer to everything. Sri Advait Sankatamochan Hanuman. That's the thing. Not separate from Ram, not separate from anything. Non-dual being. Beyond the beyond.
For the audience, I'm sure they would have this question. What does Advait means?
You know, Maharaj-ji used to make things very simple for us stupid people. He would go like this. Sub ek. That's it. Nothing more than that. Sub ek. Only one. All one. There's not two. There's not many. All one. We think there's two. We think there's a me, so we suffer. But the reality is sub ek. It always was, always will be. That's the non-dual. The ego is just thoughts. It's nothing more than thoughts, karmically generated thoughts that we identify with because of our stuff, our needs, our desires, our imagining. But if we don't think those things, if we don't think we are who we think we are, then who are we? Sub ek. But we do think we are who we think we are almost all the time. For most people, it's all the time. For somebody doing some sadhana, maybe by grace you get a little glimpse once in a while of something else, of what it really is.
Yeah. So do you have any regrets when you look back?
Ha! I regret my whole life. I'll keep that to myself, thank you.
But there is an incident where you mentioned that you regret going back to Kainchi when Maharaj-ji called you. Can you please share that story with us?
Yeah. Well, he sent me home. He told me I had attachment there. I had to go. After 2.5 years, he kept me in India 2 extra years. And one day he says to me, "America jao." What? I'm just learning Hindi. Too bad. You have attachment there. You have to go. So I came back. We said, when your visa's up, you have to go. So my visa was up on March 3rd, 1973. That's the day I got on a plane, flew back to New York. Sometime in June, I think, Maharaj-ji comes out of his room and he asks the other Westerners, "Where's Krishna Das?" And they said, "Baba, you sent him to America." "Nay! Tell him to come back. I want to hear him sing. Tell him to come back." And he like threw a fit. "Tell him to come back now." But I didn't get there in time. It's a complicated story, but when I had left, he told me to get a year-long visa and $1,000 and come back and stay for a while, because we had no money. There were a few of the older devotees who had some money, and we made a little Hanuman fund, and if you needed some money for this, you took it, or this or that. So he said, "Come back," So I had applied for the visa, and I was making some money. So I wrote back, and I said, "Baba, blah, blah, blah. Should I come now, or should I wait for the visa?" There was also one other thing. The last time I had his darshan in Vrindavan, when he told me to do what I want. See, the thing is, I'd been 2.5 years in India. I'd been celibate the 2.5 years, because I saw what, the Westerners would kind of get together, and Maharaj would go, "Oh, they're friends. That's good. They're friends. That's great." A couple of days later, "Oh, they're good friends. Oh, very good." A few days later, boom, you're married, go to America. Not me. My job in life was to stay as close to those feet as possible. That's all I wanted to do. So then I'm sitting there with him in Vrindavan, and I'm thinking, what am I going to do in America? I mean, you know, and I think I should ask him. And then I say, no, you should, what's wrong with you? You should have faith. What do you mean faith? I'm going back to New York. What should I do? You should have. So I'm arguing. Finally, I say, Maharaj-ji, how could I serve you in America? Right? He made a face like he bit a pickle. आप सेवा पूछ कर नहीं होती इस आपकी चवाई से करो. Translated, what? If you ask about service, it's not service. Then it's an order. Just do what you want. Now, like I said, I've been celibate for 2.5 years. I know what I wanted to do. And he knew what I wanted to do. And my mind just stopped. I just went, and he laughed, and he's slapping his thighs. Ha! So, how will you serve me? How will you serve me? Ha! And he's laughing. Ciao. So then I had to go. And then I did Danda Pranam from the other side of the courtyard, the temple. And when I was down there, I heard in my mind my voice, but it wasn't me talking. But I heard my voice say, I'll sing to you in America. Oh, okay. But that wasn't me. That was my voice, but it wasn't me. So then I came back, and so I had met a woman, and then just as I get up to walk away from Maharaj-ji, just very offhandedly, he just says, America mein shadi mat karo. Just very like, by the way, shadi mat karo. I heard that. So I come back, and then I'm started to tour with Ramdas around America. He would talk, I would sing. And on one part of the tour, I met this woman, and we connected. Now, he has said, don't get married in America. So I know in India, sex is a part of marriage, technically. We're not going to talk about what really goes on, but okay. But in America, it's completely different. So I was taking the American definition of that phrase. So I got together with this woman, and and she was coming to visit me the place I was living, when I got the letter from Maharaj-ji saying, come back. So one of the reasons I wrote, because I knew it would take 10 days to 2 weeks for the letter to get there, and another 10 days for it to get back. In the meantime, I'd be having fun with my girlfriend. And then I could go back to India, right? No. When he got the letter from me, the response was, come in December. This is June now. He left the body in September. That's what killed me. That was the knife in my heart. He gave me a chance to overcome the vasanas in my own heart. He gave me a chance, but I couldn't do it.
Is that one of your regrets, sir?
I'm sorry?
Is that one of your regrets that you couldn't go back to meet him?
It was for a long time. I mean, it still would have been nice, but he's been very gracious with me and to me. I no longer feel like that I did something wrong. Whatever it was, it had to be, and he's more than made up for it since then.
Okay. How can we do the right service, or just how can we serve the people? How can we in our daily lives can serve Simply. What is service to you, basically?
I think the easiest way to think of service is not causing suffering for anybody. We can't uplift people. We can't open people's hearts. We can't give them experience of God. We're just human beings. If we could create a little less suffering every day, that would be a good thing. Not easy. It's not easy because we're selfish, we're afraid, we're greedy, we're angry, we're full of all kinds of desires, we're hungry. So we have all those things going on in our own being. To really serve another, one of the Maharaj-ji once said to Tuwar, he said, you're a Brahmin. You're supposed to know things. What did Krishna teach in the Gita? So, of course, Tuwar knew it was a setup, but he still had to. He said, Nishkam Karma. You miserable Brahmins, misleading the people. Only God can do Nishkam Karma. Whoa. Whoa. Well, where is that God? Up there in the sky? No, it's in here. It means when you really perform desireless action, which is impossible for the ego. The ego is only desires, only preferences, only hungers, only emotions. So we're not doing Nishkam Karma, but we can aspire to that by helping people. And then, as Krishna also says, the results of our actions are not up to us. But if we serve people with no desire, with no expectation, that's the best we can do. But it's almost impossible for us. But still, and Jesus said very clearly, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. You think that's easy? It's not easy. But that's what I feel about seva. Maharaj-ji does it. I mean, it looks like me singing. I admit that. Sometimes it even looks like that to me. But that doesn't mean that's what it is. I open my mouth, he sings. And I have nothing to do with it. People have great experiences. Did I give them that experience? I can't even pull my pants up the right way. It's not, my job is just to repeat the name and pay attention and just do the best I can. But I'm not trying to help anybody, serve anybody. I'm just trying to share, to distribute his charanamrit in the form of the name. That's what I do. What you do with it, what it does for you is between you and him.
It's very personal.
Say what?
It's very personal between, I think spirituality or life is very personal to each one of us.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Very personal. Because the being is not outside, nor is it different from who we really are, which is the non-dual part. But we think we are who we think we are, so we remain in a separate delusion. It's a delusion, temporary. Ramakrishna Paramahansa said every repetition of the name is a seed. And the seeds get caught by the wind, and they get blown around, and they land on the roof of an old house in the jungle. And this roof is made from clay tiles, old clay tiles. And the seeds of the repetition of the name get stuck between the tiles. And over time and seasons and wind and snow and rain and everything, the tiles start to break down and get soft. Then the seeds take root, and the roots grow and grow and grow, and they destroy the roof of the house. And they keep growing, and they destroy the walls of the house. Ramakrishna says the house is who we think we are, our ego. So, and let's look at that house. It's a temporary structure created for certain needs. That's the ego. What doesn't he say? He doesn't talk about what it feels like as the house is falling down. Is it supposed to be blissful? Not necessarily. That's just bullshit, trying to create ecstasy out of nothing when it's already there, but you don't know it. So that's the thing. So the repetition of the name, the seeds start to grow at the right time when the causes and conditions arise. And then that will destroy the sense of being a separate self, which is an illusion that we believe, and probably have believed it for millions of lifetimes. So it's not something that's going to happen like that.
I also believe so that is something which requires a lot of self-awareness. A lot
A
of
lot of
self-awareness.
not following.
Self-awareness.
Self-awareness. Well, what else is there?
True.
It's remembering to remember, that's all. And what makes us remember? When you stub your toe or get a stomach ache or a headache, or
The
your
suffering.
girlfriend leaves you. That makes you remember. Unfortunately, that's the way it works. When we're happy, we don't remember, because we're getting fed, and we like that. When
Our
we're
ego
not
is being,
getting, sorry?
our ego is being fed at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we like that feeling. We like the pleasure. But we don't know. We forget that wherever pleasure is, soon there will be pain. In Buddhism, once again, I see all the Buddhas behind you, the pairs of opposites: pleasure, pain, loss, gain, shame, fame. All that stuff comes and goes. Whenever there's one, there's got to be another sooner or later. But we try to hold on to the pleasant stuff and avoid the unhappy stuff. It's not possible. The reality is both of those are inside of being, true being. But we're stuck going back and forth. But when we come back to the sound of the name, that's deeper. And the more we come back, we get rooted in a deeper place, so that we don't get so carried away with the pleasure and so affected by the pain. And it's a process that goes on. It probably has been going on for a long time.
So I know we are short on time, but I only have few of my questions left.
No
So
problem.
okay. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, you have mentioned that you have mentioned a lot about love. The
Me?
feeling.
I
Yeah.
never mentioned it.
Oh, with
I
Maharaj-ji.
don't believe in love. I don't believe in love.
Okay.
No, I'm just teasing.
Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to know what love means to you. Because for me, it is very different. And I know the place where you are coming from, it's could be totally different.
It's not different. I'm just a human being like everybody else.
Okay.
Believe me. For me, love is Maharaj-ji. Love is his presence. When I sing to that presence, and I move more deeply into that presence. And that kind of love is just being. It's not It's not because I am who I am or because I'm not who I am. It's just true nature is that love. It's what's left when everything else is taken away. When the mirror of the heart is cleaned of the dust, Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raj, what's left, then you see your face. Meanwhile, now we only see dust. But when the mirror is clean and you see your true face, that's love. That's the reality. And it's not between two people or two things. It is both things. One time I was very much in love with someone and I was telling Mr. Tiwari all about it, on and on and on, and he listened to it a long time. And when I finally finished, he said, my boy, he said, relationships are business. You do your business, enjoy. But love? He said, love lasts 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You don't get it. You can't lose it. You don't fall in it or fall out of it. It's the whole thing. We're in it all the time. It's that, isn't it Kabir Das that wrote, the fish in the water is thirsty. You know? It's like that. We're in it all the time, but we don't know it. We're separated from it by our thoughts and emotions, and because that's our separateness, our belief in that separateness, unconscious belief. It's an identification with those thoughts, that's all. And we think we're thinking also. That's the funny part. We're not thinking. The thoughts are going through, we become conscious of them and stuck to them. Then they keep going and they drop us like a bird that's carrying something that's too heavy. It carries it for a certain while, then it drops it and flies away. We're not really thinking our thoughts, but we think we are. But that's something that one has to and will experience directly at some point. You have to, because that's what's true, and what's true is heavier than what's not true. Sooner or later, everybody's going to have those experiences. Not this life, maybe, but sooner or later. We have to, because that's reality. And ultimately, the delusion melts away, and what's left is what's real. Hopefully. Oh. And that's another trap. False hope. Maya mare namana mare mar gaya sharir asha trishna namare kagaya das kabir. Maharaj used to say that.
Okay. You once mentioned, sir, that Dada was a true devotee.
Yeah, he looked like that to us anyway, yeah.
Okay. Can you please share some stories about that?
He wrote 2 wonderful books. One book, By His Grace, is the first book. He didn't write the book. He would just tell us stories, and we would record them, and then eventually we put them together as a book. So Dada was a communist economics professor at Allahabad University, living in his uncle's house with his wife. When one day, and he was completely uninterested in spiritual things. He had no use for spiritual things at all. He was born in a small village outside of Calcutta, and he was initiated. He had the thread ceremony by his father when he was young, and then shortly after that, his father died. So in order to honor his father, he would do his Gayatri every day. But that's it. That's all he did. So one day he was hanging out with his friends at the house, and he sees his mother, his wife and auntie preparing to go outside. He said, "Where are you going?" And they said, "Oh, there's a Baba who comes to the house across the street. We heard about him and we've been waiting for him, and now he's there, so we're going to see him." Dada says, "Ja, go." So they walk across the street, and they enter the small, it was like a mud hut house, and it was dark inside. So they walk in, and there's the Baba sitting on a tucket. And they just get in, and the Baba goes, Kamala, go home. Your husband friends are waiting for their food, their chai. Go. That's Dada's wife's name is Kamala. So she thought, what? How could he know my name? And she was very confused. So she just sat down. And a couple of minutes later, he says to her, Kamala, jao. Kalana, I'll go with you then. So she left. And when she comes back, Dada says, what happened? Why are you back so soon? And she tells him, and that piqued his curiosity. So the next day, he went across the street with his wife. He walks in the house. The Baba stands up, takes Dada's hand, and starts walking across the street to Dada's house. And he says, from now on, I'll be staying with you. Can you imagine? I mean, I tell that to people here. I say, you drove up to the supermarket and you come out with all your groceries. Some homeless guy gets in your car and says, from now on, I'll be staying with you, But Dada being Dada, he said, oh, they came to the house, and then the people from across the street come over, and then the ladies started preparing prasad, cutting fruit and this and that, and it turned into a bandara. And every time, and that was Maharaj-ji, of course. And then Maharaj-ji would then come to that house a few times a year and stay for a while, and it became his place. And then many years later, Maharaj-ji, Siddhima and her husband and others were in Allahabad, and they left to do a yatra. They went to Dwarka, they went to a few places. They also came to Calcutta, and they went up to Dakshineshwar, Ramakrishna Paramahansa's place. And they're walking around the temple, and Siddhima's husband was with Maharaj-ji, and outside, I haven't been there, but outside the temple there's a number of Shiva lings across the courtyard, like 7 or 10 or 9 or something. Big courtyard. So Maharaj-ji stops in the courtyard and he says to Siddhima's husband, this is where I gave your Dada his mantra. So Tularam writes to Dada in Allahabad, and the story is, when Dada was a young man in college, he came home for the holidays from Allahabad, and he bought a day-long ticket on the public transportation. You could go as many places in one day for a small amount of money. So he went to Dakshineshwar just as a tourist, and he was walking around. And in order to say that he did it, he went to each Shiva temple and he just went like this, And at one point, in the middle of the day, there was no one else around. It was brutally hot. He pronounced to the Shiva. He turns around, and there's this bulky gentleman standing there. And he says to Dada, I'll give you a mantra. And Dada says, I won't take it. Yes, you'll take it. I said, no, I won't take it. You'll take it if I say you'll take it. I won't take it. He says, yes, you'll take it, and you do it when you do your Gayatri. Dada was shocked. How does he know I do Gayatri? I'm not showing anything. So in order to kind of get rid of him, he said, okay, give it to me. So this Baba gives him the mantra. Dada turns and pranams to another temple, and when he turns back, there's no one there. This was must have been, it could have been in the 40s. He was a young man in the 40s, maybe even earlier in the 30s, I don't know. So now we're talking in the late 60s that this happened. Maharaj told Tularam, this is where I gave Dada his mantra. Dada had he completely forgot that. He never connected the Baba who gave him the mantra with Maharaj-ji, ever. But he agreed to say the mantra every day, and he did. When he took his bath and did his Gayatri. Every day he said it for 30 years or more, because he said he would. And then Maharaj-ji shows up.
So there is this book which is called The Miracles of Love, right? And I just wanted to know why it is named that way. Oh,
I
and
didn't name it.
okay,
I didn't name it. Ram Dass named it that. But we're whenever you come in touch with real love, it feels like a miracle. I mean, it feels so different than anything else you've ever felt. There's another book of stories, Divine Reality. Do you know that book?
no, sir. I'll just read.
Oh, you can read it in Hindi. They have it. I don't know where they sell it. They sell it usually at Maharaj's temples. But on my website, there's a free download PDF of it.
Oh, nice.
Hold on. Yeah, I can send you the link. I'll put it
Please.
in the chat. Hold on, here's the chat. And it's for anyone. It's a completely free. It's the English translation, which was very well done.
Yeah.
But if I knew enough Hindi, I would rather read it in Hindi, because Maharaj-ji, the way he spoke was unique, really unique. But I'm not sure where you can find it in India. I know, like at Kainchi, they sell it.
Okay.
If they have it in stock, and maybe some of his other temples, maybe Lucknow, maybe Vrindavan, I don't know. It's really, Miracle of Love is very good, of course, but Divine Reality is really much deeper, many stories, many more stories. Yeah.
Can you recall any one of them right now?
My favorite story is in Divine Reality. Maharaj-ji had a devotee who was an old man, and he was at the old man's house, and the old man's granddaughter was 8 years old at the time, and she came running in crying because she had seen one of the neighbors had died, and she had seen a dead body for the first time. So Maharaj-ji calls her over and says, no, don't cry, don't cry. Tell me what you want, anything you want. Just tell me what you want, tell me what you want. What do you want? And she said, Baba, when I die, bring me back to life. 8-year-old girl. So Maharaj-ji didn't say anything. Many years go by. I really can't, I don't remember they said how many years, but it's got to be many years, 20, 30 years maybe. The grandfather's long gone. The girl's father has another guru in another place. The girl's married now and she's much older. And the woman's husband calls her father and says, your daughter, my wife, is dying. So the father goes to his guru, who was this Moni Baba, who I think I know who he was. And he says, Baba, my daughter's dying. Please save her. And the Baba says, I can't do that. The only one who can do that is Neem Karoli Baba. You pray to him. So the father starts praying to Maharaj-ji. At that very time, there's a knock on the door of the woman's house. Husband opens the door. Doesn't know who Maharaj-ji is, but he sees this bulky gentleman in a blanket who says, your wife is sick? And he says, no, Baba, she died. Nay, she's not dead. Take me to her. he goes in with the husband. The woman is lying. And he says, "You have some grapes in the house? Bring me some grapes in a spoon." So the husband gets Maharaj-ji squeeze some grapes juice in the woman's mouth. "Theek ho jayega, she'll be okay." And he leaves. The woman eventually got all better, lived many years. Nobody had to call him. Nobody had to send a telegram. He did it because he said he would. He promised an 8-year-old girl. Maybe 25, 30 years go by, but he showed up at the door.
Reminds me of the thought that I never leave you. You can leave me, but I never leave.
Once I take your hand, I never let go. Yeah.
And so, do you know about Hanuman Gadi? Have you been there?
Hanuman Giri? Hanuman?
Hanuman Gadi temple.
Oh, sure, many times, yeah. Nainital is where I lived last life.
Oh, you know about your
Maybe.
last.
No, I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know. But that's the Kumaon Hills really was that's the first place I went. And I was just totally at home there. I loved it. Yeah. So yeah, I've been many times to Hanumangadi.
Okay. And do you know about the story of Hanuman Gadi, sir? Because I've heard that there is a story behind Hanuman Gadi, that it was a cursed place and Maharaj-ji chanted Ram Nam for a year.
It's possible. I mean, it was where children who died young, they were born there. They were buried there. And it was supposed to be haunted. So yes, Maharaj-ji apparently used to stay there at night and do a lot of Ram Nam. And also Hari Khan Baba, the real Hari Khan Baba from the early 1900s, he had placed a Shiva Ling there. But I don't think anybody was worshiping it or anything, but it was there. It's still there. So yeah, Maharaj-ji eventually, he had the temple built there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was Somari Maharaj, sir?
Oh, you should read KK's book.
Okay.
KK Shah wrote a book about it's called Dev Bhumi.
Dev Bhumi.
Dev, Dev Bhumi. And it's mostly about Sombari Baba and a lot of the other Babas in the hills in the old days. But definitely many stories of Sombari Baba. Was a great, he was called Sombari. On Mondays he used to feed people, and he lived outside, and he had a cave in Kainchi, because he used to travel from Kakarigat, which was to Kainchi, to Boali, and then all the way to Padampuri. That was his route. But he would stay in Kainchi under this ledge. It wasn't even really a cave, it was a rock ledge. And that's where Maharaj-ji said, "There'll be a temple here because I hear the sound here." And the Hanuman temple, which is the first temple built, is built right in front of Sombari Baba's cave. That was the first thing built, right there. So, yeah, he was a great Siddha, Sombari Baba.
Sir, I only have one last question. It was, I know that there's not going to be end of my question, and some of my question must be stupid also because I'm just flowing right now. I'm not following the script or something. But yeah, I want to know more about Maharaj-ji, his stories, his journey. So can you, and I think the viewers also want to do that. So can you please give us more any book recommendations that people can read to know?
Well, like I said, Divine Reality.
Okay.
I forget the name of it in Hindi. Hold on a second. This is the English version.
Okay, yes, I have to do.
Yeah. Trying to see if I can. Alokik Yatartha. Alokik Yatartha. That's the Hindi name of the book. And like I said, I don't know where you can get it at this point, but the English version is available for free on my website. There's so many, and Dada's books, and yeah, Ram Dass's books, all talking about Maharaj-ji. Maharaj-ji's teachings.
So my last question would be, with the growing popularity of Kainchi.
Wait, that's the third time you said my last question.
I cannot, I just want to, I want to
So,
go on.
I'm just teasing. It's okay.
I know.
No problem.
Okay. So one of my last question, that is, after Virat Kohli sir visited Kainchi Dham, right? So it has gained a lot of popularity, and along with that, it is gaining a lot of traction as well of people. So what are your thoughts on that? Just simply your thoughts on that. Do you think it's good or?
It's, in the old days, when Maharaj-ji was there, it was a very small temple. There was one bare light bulb in the front courtyard. That was it. Then when Siddhima started taking care after Maharaj's time, Siddhima stayed there and made it very beautiful and fixed things, and electricity came. There was a generator, everything. But yet still the number of people that came was fairly small, except on Bandara Day, June 15th. Then there were many people. Now there's so many people. So I think now Maharaj-ji and Ma are letting people come. Previously they kept them away because they didn't want them there. They didn't need them there. But now that they're not there physically, the doors are so-called opened for everyone. And the blessings are certainly there, always will be there. They were there even before Maharaj-ji built the temple. It was a sacred spot. But of course, he was there for those years, and Ma was so many years. So yeah, it's not for me to know if it's good or bad, but it's certainly different. Yeah, still Kainchi.
Uh, Thank you so much, sir, for being here today and giving us your time. I
Thank you.
we had no clue that I'll get the chance that we'll meet, because you are one of those people who have lived with Maharaj-ji, who has seen him, who has interacted with him, and this is just his blessing, his grace, nothing else,
Yeah.
nothing. And the story that I mentioned in the beginning, sir, that was, we forgot to send you the link, right? We did not forget, but we were planning to send it, and it
Yeah.
could go through, and the podcast got cancelled. And you were very kind that you mentioned that you can do it today. So the travelers, one of our travelers, they are here in Bhutan today, and I was just preparing. I was just leaving the dining area, and the guy came and he said, "Ki, where are you going?" I said, "I have a podcast." So he said, "With whom?" I said, "With Krishna." So he was stunned. He was like, "I'm very big, like, listener of Krishna Das Ji, devotee of Krishna Das Ji. Please, uh, can I say hello to him?" And he had been following you for a very long time, for a very long.
Uh-huh.
So, and at that exact moment, I could see why it could not happen that day in Delhi, and it was planned to do. Maharaji planned it way that
Uh-huh.
the guy could meet you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little
Very
great that,
good.
yeah. So
Very
thank
good. By the way, I just sent you that story I just told you.
Okay.
I put it in the chat. It's a short little story. I put it in the chat from Divine Reality.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Okay?
a link, right?
Yeah. And then actually, I send you this quote from Ramakrishna about, like I was mentioning it for you before.
Okay.
Where is it? Here you go. Oh, what happened here? Uh-huh. What is that? Okay, so it's just, anyway, the second part is that. I don't know why. Did it come through? It didn't
Oh,
send.
no.
Yeah. I don't know why it didn't send. I'll tell you what, I'll copy this and I will email it to you. Right? I have your email, right? Where are you? Hold on. So let's see. Is it Pranjal?
No, sir.
That's
It
not
is,
you.
yeah, it's Mohit Sharma @ilahitravels.com.
There you go. Okay. Hold on. New email.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And I have a little small request. Can we meet in when you come to India in Rishikesh, because I'm coming to your concert.
We can try. It's just going to be very difficult. There's
It's
going to
okay.
be both each night there'll be over 3,000 people there, so it might be very difficult. But you have my email. Just get in touch. Actually, I give you my WhatsApp number. I'll send it to you via email,
Thank you.
and then you can get in touch when you get to Rishikesh, and if it's possible, we will. Okay?
Definitely, sir. Thank you so much.
Or
Uh,
kuch.
one last request, sir.
Okay, that's your fourth or fifth last question. Okay.
Okay.
Hopefully, this is the last
Yeah, this
question.
is the last. I promise this is the last, sir. So
Okay.
when this podcast gets out, can we tag you as well in collaboration
Please do.
on?
Yeah, I would like to put it up on my site. So just make sure we have a link to it.
Okay. And any message for the audience, sir?
What have I just been yapping for the last hour and a half? I don't have anything more to say.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Ramana, take good care.
Thank you.